and thanks for joining me for my pregnancy recap video. I feel like there's this general trend in social media where women are being a little more open and honest about their pregnancy stories and their labor and delivery stories, and I love it. I just feel like it really helps me to know like, oh, other people experience these crazy things during pregnancy. It's not just me, I'm not going crazy. So here's my story for you, and I hope that it helps and encourages. I had to write things down on flashcards to make sure I remembered everything that I wanted to say because that's how my pregnancy brain works best. So anyways, starting with the story of how we found out that we were pregnant, Nate and I decided we wanted to start trying to have a family. Told a few friends and that was fun. They recommended the app Pre-Mom. It's great for like the trying period and then pregnancy as well. With that app, they recommend getting these LH strips. So you like pee into the cup and put the strip in and find out when you're most fertile in the month. We were trying it out and I did not think that I was pregnant that month. I remember telling Nate like, oh, the app tells me to take a pregnancy test first thing tomorrow morning. So if I come downstairs for breakfast and I'm sad, it's just because I have to take the test to know, and I don't think we are, and I'll be a little bit bummed. And the next morning I was so tired, and I remember doing the pregnancy test, putting the timer and setting it off to the side, and my vision was like so blurry from sleepiness that I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to read what it says on the pregnancy test. And I can't remember what I'm supposed to look for. I think it's 2 lines. So the timer goes off and I checked the pregnancy test and there are 2 bold lines, and I remember shaking, like I was so giddy, running downstairs. And of course Nate knew I was taking the pregnancy test, so when he heard me like running, he pieced it all together, and so I just jumped into his arm, and so then we were both like shaking and crying and happy, and it was really wonderful. But it feels so fragile at the beginning, and it is. And so I took 1 to 2 pregnancy tests every day for the next, I don't know, 2 weeks. We started to tell family pretty early because we were excited and because we knew that if we lost him, it would still be worth it to tell our closest like family members and friends so they could walk through that with us. So that's what we did at the start. We, let's see, the first day that we knew, I remember going to work and my Pre-Mom app told me that the baby was the size of a grain of salt. And I ordered In-N-Out that day for lunch. And I had some salty fries and I looked down and there was a grain of salt on my finger. And I just like cried looking at it. Baby, you are this size and you've already flipped my whole world upside down in the best way. So that was day 1. I wanted to tell extended family at like week 10. I just remember thinking that my body was changing so rapidly and that the baby bump was super visible. Hopefully I can add a picture or a video from around that time, because I would tell Nate like, people are gonna look at me and they're already gonna know before we tell them. And looking back, like there's no way anybody could tell, but I was so convinced that it was blatantly obvious. I remember, so we found out week 4 of pregnancy, and by week 5 I was reading through like, oh, he'll take all these naps, and I was like, oh no, I've only needed like 1 tiny nap and a 3-hour nap that day, and the next day and the next day, like really healthy. I was on Whole30 still, and then all of a sudden I couldn't eat anything. The most surprising thing for me, and I don't want to go crazy about the symptoms part, so I might just like list them off to the side, but the crazy one for me that I didn't know could be so wild was my sense of smell affected everything. Like I'm somebody who loves candles, but any candle was too strong, and we were in this huge home and I couldn't have a candle going anywhere, like if upstairs or downstairs. Most wild story is that I was driving to work one morning and I could smell somebody chopping onions. Who knows where? But the smell was so strong, I cried all the way to work, because it sounds like I'm exaggerating that, but that's how bad it was. So I would sleep through a full night, go to work, struggling with every smell, struggling to eat food, constantly nauseous all day long, make it home from work and sleep 2 hours, and then Nate would wake me up and ask me what I wanted to eat, and I would cry. So he would make rice or bread and bring it to me in bed, and I would eat it, and then I would sleep another 8 to 10 hours. Always thought I was going to vomit, like every hour of every day. Every conversation with people, in the back of my mind I was like, where's the closest bathroom or trash can, and how do I exit this conversation if I need to throw up? And it lasted until, so week 5 is when everything hit, until week 17, which was so hard for me. So if you're in the same boat, I just feel like people tell you, oh, like a week 11 or 12, things will start to ease and you'll love second trimester. It's the best. And second trimester was the best. But it didn't hit me until week 17. Every week that went by, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 17, I got more and more discouraged that it was gonna be a forever thing until the end of pregnancy. So I just want to encourage people out there, like sometimes it takes your body apparently a longer time to ease out of the symptoms and to enjoy the joys of second trimester. And for those of you who experience it way worse, I cannot even imagine, and I'm so sorry that you have to go through all that. It's rough. Second trimester was my favorite. Slowly after like week 17, I could try more foods. The sense of smell is still heightened, but it wasn't as like debilitating. I felt better about what I was eating too. Slowly gained weight because it was really hard in the first trimester to gain the appropriate amount. We got to go on our baby moon during second trimester. You know, just like some weird little symptoms that I can put up to the side so you know that you're not alone if you're experiencing them. Even when we were in Boston, we would take the train. I forgot what it's called. And people would occasionally like notice the baby bump and stand up to give me their seats, and I thought that was the sweetest thing. And so I know not everybody is about that, but I really thought it was precious, and it was nice to know that I don't feel well, but people can look at me and they know why. First trimester, you just feel horrible, or I felt horrible, and I felt like everyone expected me to feel normal because they didn't know what was going on. Third trimester, it's like wild in its own way. Maybe I'll list the symptoms for third trimester on the sides again too, but insomnia is probably the hardest part of third trimester for me. Also, we moved during third trimester. We got to put the nursery together, all the cute clothes from the baby shower, all the little gifts, and everything's put in its place, and the crib is ready and the car seat's ready. So that part of third trimester, of course, is amazing, but the lack of sleep and the way that lack of sleep like plays on your emotions and everything, so difficult. We did our maternity shoot to remember what it was like to be this size and to have him moving constantly and to be so big. Well, let's see, tomorrow baby and I will be at 39 weeks. So really getting close to the end of everything, hopefully. I wanted to talk about some products that I like real quick. Well, everyone talks about their Stanley water bottle being the best thing ever. I don't know, this one's not a Stanley, it's off-brand, and I think it's probably better. The price point's better, and it's 50 ounces. Stanley water bottles are only 40 ounces. I fill it up at least twice, and I drink all of it. So averaging 100 ounces, sometimes more. Also sounds like I'm exaggerating, I'm really not. The only thing that like helps with the nausea, and that's why I drink so much, because I'm constantly nauseous and trying to keep it down. So really recommend investing in an insulated water bottle with the appropriate amount of ounces for you. Another thing that I bought were these little nippies, because my body is changing sizes so quickly and I was frustrated having to adjust and get a different bra like every few weeks. They stay on really well, and I've used them like more than 50 times in the last few months. I didn't have to stress about finding the right bra to go with the right top or the right dress or anything. I could just slip these on. My swelling is a real issue for me anyways, not like a medical concern, just annoying. I felt like a lot of the compression socks that I looked up reminded me too much of what I used to wear to school in 3rd grade, but I found some on Amazon that were just like neutral colors. Made me feel like I could actually add them to an outfit if I needed to. A friend gave me a pregnancy pillow. That is also life-changing. I got some biker shorts off of Amazon. Obviously, like the maternity leggings and jeans are really, really helpful for every day. You use them way more than you think you will. And somebody recommended bio oil, I think it's called, from Target. That feels really great. As far as lotions, I use some of my regular ones, and I transitioned to like thicker ones for the more stretched out I got. And then I had a really thick one somebody gave me specifically for stretch marks, and I don't have any stretch marks, so maybe that's a really good sign. Mostly, please know that you're not alone. Everybody's journey is different and has weird parts to it, and maybe scary parts to it. I feel like that's pretty normal too. You're probably doing great, probably doing a lot better than you think you are. And you can always reach out and ask me questions, or I can just listen to you because it's rough and it's rougher than I thought it would be. And I'm glad people are starting to share more because it made me feel like I wasn't the only one. So you're not the only one if it's hard. And if it's easy, great. Please enjoy it to the max. But yeah, thanks for joining me for my pregnancy recap.